I know all the people. Alright, cool. Sounds good to me. Let me write that down. Man, I just got your email here. I mean, your voicemail. Well, that's good. Onward and
We were
upward.
sitting here, yes.
Yeah. But you know what? I see a track record of you that you do get tapped for that person because you do it well. You know what I mean? And it's not just here. I think you're willing to bring something to the top. You know that. And that's where the mentorship is chosen. You know, wherever you are. Sure. You saw from the head. So do you think you could take notes today? So I can give you the birthdays and anniversaries. Scott Manley give you the visitors again. So you can cut and paste or you can just give me your numbers. Just what we really need to do is who's speaking, what are they talking about, some or factors that they give us. Because today I think they're going to be talking about. So I'm sure we'll be able to say, hey, 99% of kids are drinking out again. So we're going to talk about what the problem is, what they're doing to fix it, and how. I mean, does that make? If you know how to afford.
Okay, are we good?
Look, let's say one, you need to learn how to learn. Start with me. Anybody that's asking you has, I've said no thing. Don't worry.
I said, you choose school.
It's fine. I got. Well, like I said, I mean, if you're looking down at the cup of coffee, you see the cream right there. Pick something. Don't scoop us a lot of meat. Yes, ma'am, you too. All right.
Very good.
No, we just met. I'm just trying to put the umbrella around. Hey, Jerry. Hey, you I have more stuff. Yes, all of those. The other the stuff I gave you, right?
Hey, I think you did.
You did?
Okay.
Yeah, we have, our committee meetings this afternoon.
Okay.
No, I just can't remember things like what happened with 5 minutes ago.
I can remember what happened 5 years ago.
I thought it was, I'm beginning to think that my brain has evolved into a multiple choice brain. I can't think of it anymore.
I'm sorry? You're welcome.
All right.
Of course.
Charlotte told me that y'all carry numbers.
You right? Well, we go, and then we.
He should be out there.
Yeah.
Everybody's got it?
Susan, I'm getting mine.
How are you doing? So you're gonna be,
Leadership Street project this year.
so you're in the classroom?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So you're in I feel like maybe lifelong friendships. I will count that, keep that one. Good, well, I'm not gonna talk about that. All right. Parker.
Oh, no, we're good. We're good. They
Well, she doesn't work with my parents. I work at houses.
Yeah.
And he works. In Georgia, from Korea. Listen to the big picture of the. Love big.
And she was yeah. And I know you stop this in grocery. Yeah, you're the guy with and then I saw a picture of how, yeah. And it was like, oh, did you know that he's in that thing every time? Like, he's seeing it. Yeah, you know, how rest is the name, he does. Yeah, I think I'm ready, because I was oh, yeah. I didn't hear, I was like.
Yes, Shirley, great to see you there. Don't go ahead. Sweet little kids anymore. Taking over. Right, so I'm gonna start about 12:20, we have 10 minutes.
Yeah, we did it yesterday at 20.
Okay, that'll give you some time for Q&A.
Right, thank you.
That's why I'm looking for all you have to do is hit that play button.
Welcome to the Rotary Club of the Branch. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by our invocation today given by Carrie Rice. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carrie?
Let's pray. We are thankful for this day that you've given us, for its blessings, its opportunities, and its challenges. And we appreciate and use each day that comes to us. We pray for strength and guidance for each day as it comes, for each day's duties and for each day's problems. May we be challenged to do our best always, and may we be assured of your presence with us. Amen.
Thank you, Carrie. And now I'd like to ask Scott Landon to introduce our visitors and guests today. Good Wednesday afternoon, everybody. Happy April 6th. We have one guest joining us today, Leon Childs. Leon, if you don't mind, stand up. Thank you. Leon is a guest of Judge I Heard and works with Grantsville.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. I want to say thank you to Scott Landon for doing this. He stepped up in the middle of our year. We had somebody, Cheryl Magby had to leave the club, and she always took attendance and introduced our visitors and guests, and she had to leave on short notice, and so Scott has graciously agreed to help out for the next few months, and I really want to say thank you, because I know some birthdays and anniversaries to announce this week. Birthdays, Barbara Hennigan has a birthday on April 12th. Jim Kilbury has a birthday on April 9th. And Joe Redmond, April 11th. Happy birthday to y'all. And we have a few wedding anniversaries as well. Pam and Dwayne Fuller today, April 6th, as well. Oh, and Barbara and Neil Hennigan today as well. And Brett and Kimberly Jones on April 12th. So happy anniversary, happy birthdays, y'all. And we just have a few announcements. First of all, please silence your cell phones today. Just to be polite to our speakers. Our golf tournament is next Thursday. We still need some volunteers. You can see Jerry or Drew or John Harrell if we need just a few people to help register, and if you want to sit and watch people try to make a hole-in-one and maybe wet your whistle while you do sit in the sun, we could use some people to help with that as well. Connie Hensler is looking for volunteers to deliver and read books to our pre-K students in our community. If you can see her, we could schedule some time to get that done to all the schools. Tabitha Coderson is looking for volunteers for tomorrow morning out at Long Cane Middle School. They are playing the Reality U simulation game with those kids. If anybody's ever played that game, it helps you learn how to save your money, how quickly you can spend your money, and it really keeps everybody in check of how valuable it is and how quickly it can go, right? It's a great education for those kids, but they do need people to be volunteers at each of the stations as the kids go around and do those tasks. So you can see Tabitha does well for that. Jerry Folks has an announcement.
Thank you, Chairman Jason. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you have been fans of the Sons of Lafayette for 20 years. Now you're probably saying, Sons of Lafayette, who's that group? The Sons of Lafayette is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year, but it's really the 21st year because we lost the first year of the pandemic before reinitiating our concerts. Our annual spring concert is coming up we're two performances, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. The Saturday performance is at 7 p.m. at First Presbyterian Church, followed by the Sunday performance on the 24th at 4 p.m. at First Presbyterian Church. If you're into music and you don't know about the acoustics of the First Presbyterian Church sanctuary, please understand it is dynamic. And when this group sings and they go from loud to nothing, it still echoes in your ears. It's really a phenomenal group. We have about 30 strong members. Their songs we're singing this year are all what I would call fun music. We've got some religious, we've got some gospel, we've got some contemporary, relatively modern things. If you like Simon & Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water, that's one of the ones we're singing, which is a very interesting arrangement too. So it's a lot of fun. Tickets are $15 in advance, $10 for students, $20 at the door. This is a great place to take your spouse if you need to get them out of the house. Nobody needs to get out of the house. You're not in my family. So I just encourage you to come out. We will have tickets here again next week and the week after that. But it's a wonderful performance, and let's keep some things like the LaGrange Chorale and the Sons of Lafayette going. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. And then I also do want to remind everybody that there's still time. The district conference is at the end of this month. So if anybody's been thinking about going, you can still register and go down and participate. We are sending a group of folks down. So feel free to register and join in to go down to Sandestin. We have some time for Happy Dollars. If anybody has any Happy Dollars to put in the kitty. call
So this time of year for Dragon Boat, the Dragon Boat race is coming July 16th. It's going to be out of West Point Lake, so I'm really excited that it's back this year. This is our 6th annual, and it benefits Harmony House. So I've got some of these on top of the table. I didn't want to waste too much to eat, trying to be good with the money, but grab one of these. This QR code will take you to the website, and I have all the way out there. There's still a couple spots left for teams, and there's a couple sponsorships available too.
I have a job today is to remind everyone of the Marine Cycling Classic coming back to downtown LaGrange on April 24th, so 3 Sundays from now. We're excited this year. The Swagger guys that run the races have added some of their sanctioned junior races, and we're doing some local kids races. So we're going to have our local kids from, I believe, age 3 to 9 will be racing intermittently in between some of the races. So we're hoping to bring more kids and more families out with that. Really excited y'all come see us. VIP tickets on our website, the Marine Cycling Classic, and sponsorships still available. Jump in.
Thanks, y'all. Lots going on, lots to look forward to, lots of to be proud of. And now I'd like to ask Connie Hitzer to come introduce our program.
All right, thank you all. I'm so excited to introduce today's program to you. How many of you are Leadership Troop alumni? Oh, I see lots of fans in here. Leadership Troop is one of my favorite things that the Chamber does. This year's class is the 30th year, this is the 30th year of the program for Leadership Troop. And we have one of our largest classes ever set to graduate in May. So we're very proud of them. We're very proud of the project that they chose to support this year. And I have April Bartley and Kim Myers here to tell us more about that. So let me introduce them to you. April is originally from our community. She is a graduate of Troop High School and LaGrange College, where she received her undergraduate degree and graduate degrees. She's been working with Kia Georgia for the last 11 years and is currently serving as the Communications Strategy Program Manager. And April is also on the LaGrange Troop County Chamber's Board of Directors. So that's April. And then Kim Myers was also raised in LaGrange. She graduated from LaGrange High School, then the University of Georgia, with a degree in middle grades education. She earned her master's degree in library science from Georgia State University and her specialist degree in education from the University of West Georgia. She retired after teaching for 32 years. She spent 22 of those years at Hollis Hand as a media specialist. And in June of 2020, she was hired as the first director of Get Troop Reading. When Kim is not working, she loves to play tennis, spend time with her family, and of course, read. So please help me welcome April and Kim.
Thank you all for having us. April and I are excited to be a part of the Leadership Troop class of 2022. And our project relates to one of our goals of Get Troop Reading, which is to have our children ready to enter kindergarten with the foundation they need to be successful and to meet those reading goals by 3rd grade. So our project is based on our littlest ones, the 0 to 3-year-olds in our community, their parents, their caregivers, and all of us, and how we can help them have the skills they need to start school ready to learn. In April of 2021, the leadership team of Get Troop Reading learned about a grant opportunity that provided funds for local Georgia communities to bring the basics to our community. After researching the program and the grant, the team decided that the basics philosophy would be a great way to address the importance of early brain development in infants and toddlers in our community. We applied for the Empowering Communities Through Collective Impact Grant for early language and literacy from the Sandra Deal Literacy Foundation. Get Troop Reading was one of the 10 communities in Georgia to receive the grant, and we've been working the past year with the Sandra Deal Foundation and the National Basics Network to learn about the science behind the basics and build a network to bring it to the parents and caregivers of children in Troop County. Let us share, I'm going to show a short video about the basics and how it came to be. Sorry, I should have done that. I'll leave it there. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's gone. Okay. And I'll see that.
Did you know that the brain is 80% of its adult size by the time the children are 3 years old? And that the quantity and quality of brain architecture that develop during the first few years of life?
Okay, it's the video streaming, so I was afraid it might not. Oh, I see what we're saying, yeah. Ah. Okay, well, y'all see the basics. Okay, well, forget the video. Sorry, let me tell you a little bit about the basics. The basics was developed by a professor at Harvard University. His name's Dr. Ronald Ferguson. He is a specialist in early brain development. And he, along with peers in the Boston community, came up with the 5 basic principles that are scientifically proven to promote brain development in 0 to 3-year-olds. The Basics Network he developed is in over 50 communities in the United States and in 6 different countries. This program is backed scientifically with research done by Harvard, and we have been working closely with Dr. Ferguson and these 10 other communities in Georgia to bring it to our state. So April, you ready to go on? She's going to talk more about the basics. I'm sorry that video didn't work.
And I'm not one to stand behind a podium. I like to be up there with you guys, but I know this is being live streamed, so I'm going to try to stand near the mic a little bit, but still be out and about. I want to start by giving you a little bit of the science that she mentioned. She's already mentioned that we're targeting 0 to 3-year-olds, and the reason being is by the age of 3, a child's brain is 80% of the adult size. So between birth and 3 years old, all of that neuron growth and those connections that drive the things in our brain, 80% of that is already there. That's amazing. I had no idea about that. So that was pretty amazing. And one of the things, I know Kim has spoken to this club before about the Kids Through Reading and a lot of things that are out there in our community. All of that is available when they get school age, a lot of times. But what the research has shown us is that they need that long before. They need this type of thing to prepare them to be in school. The other thing that we see is the development skill gaps. They start to show sometimes as early as 2 years old. These are socioeconomic status based on advantage versus disadvantage, race, ethnicity, things of that nature. In the studies, it already showed gaps, skill gaps at 2 years old. That's frightening because when you have a foundation like that, you're already set back before you even enter school.
No, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with getting them. Here we go. Okay. Now we're going to be open. Sorry, April.
Here, okay.
There you go. Okay.
Okay, go back one. There we go. So there was a study in the mid-90s, and it found that advantaged children had heard more than 30 million more words than disadvantaged children by the age of 3. 30 million. Why do you think that is? Disadvantaged versus advantaged children. What are some thoughts?
Parents reading to them.
All right, parents reading to them.
Parents talking.
Parents talking to them? Yes. Now, I don't know about you guys, but
It's not just the quantity, it's the quality. So think about kids that are what we would consider disadvantaged. If you ever were a parent struggling to make ends meet, if you're worried about keeping the lights on and the water running and putting food on the table for your children, you're probably not thinking about communicating with them and how you're communicating with them. Your basic instinct is survival, right? So these kids that are disadvantaged, a lot of times the words they hear, it's reprimands and scoldings, don't do that, get out of here. You know, it's the negative. It's what they hear because I mean, you can't always blame the parents, but when they're struggling to make ends meet, that's not going to be the first thing on their minds. So again, that ties into some of that 30 million words and that skill gap development by age 3. So that leads us to the basics. And we have some information on your tables, and of course, if you would like more information, there are websites, and Kim is the expert. But what the basics is it's 5 fun, simple, and powerful ways that every family can give every child a strong start. It encompasses, these 5 principles encompass most of what experts say the children's brain needs to develop between the ages of 0 and 3. So just a quick run through of the 5 basic principles, and then I'll give some more examples of them later. But the first is maximize love and manage stress. Think about as a child, if you're anxious, whether it's your child or just a child you're around, that child is going to feed on that, especially from 0 to 3 years old. So if you are anxious or if you are stressed, that's going to carry over. And the very first principle here is to maximize the love for that child and help manage the stress. I talked a minute ago about the disadvantaged kids whose parents or parents may be in strict survival mode. That's very stressful. I mean, if you ever lived paycheck to paycheck, I remember back in the days just hoping that the pay would come in before the check would bounce, you know, and that was when you had 2 or 3 days before a check would clear the bank. That doesn't happen today. But that, I mean, I lived that life. I know what it feels like, and I didn't have kids. I couldn't imagine if I would have had kids in that equation, trying to juggle. So the foundation starts with maximize love and manage stress. The second is talk, sing, and point. Well, we talk to kids, right? We may sing with them. Point to things. That helps them with their language development. The third one is math-based. Count, group, and compare. Count objects. Group them together by likes or dislikes, likenesses and dislikes, and then compare them. The fourth is explore through movement and play. And the fifth is read and discuss stories. And I'm going to camp on this one for just a second. I was one of those, I didn't know it, but I was an advantaged child. My mother read to me from as early as I can remember. We would go to the library and get books, and she would read them to me. And in first grade, I was the first kid to bring a book to school and go to the front of the class and read it to everybody because I could read. I didn't know everybody in my class couldn't read. I didn't know that. But the one thing my mother didn't do, and it never occurred to me to do until I learned about the basics, was discuss the stories. One of the things that we've learned in Leadership Truth, I don't have children that have come through the education system, so I'm not very knowledgeable about our current education system and standardized tests. But through Leadership Truth, we were exposed to that. I was the nerd in school. I was the straight A student. I could not do well on a standardized test today. I do not think. They are so complicated and so hard. And our kids are having to take these tests. But it's about discussing. Don't just read, discuss it. What does it mean? That creates different connections in the brain than just words association. What does the story mean? Because when they take these standardized tests, to my surprise, not only do they have to read, then they have to comprehend and analyze what they're reading and write something about it in paragraph form. Oh my goodness, that's a lot. So read and discuss stories. Now, here's the cool thing. Go back for 1 second. Here's the cool thing about all these things. They're free. There's no fancy toys. There's nothing that you have to buy or invest in. They're free, and families can, our caregivers or our community can do them in their normal everyday interaction. That's what, as a class, we really liked about it. It's not a program, and I'm joking, we're not up here asking for money to fund our program today. So the basics, those are the concepts. The approach is to saturate the community. That's why we're here speaking to you guys partly, and it ties in with our Leadership Troop project. We want to saturate the community. You guys are the community. We want to make life the program. We want to help families experience positive reinforcements from doing the basics from every direction of their life. There's a title on this slide, if it comes up. It's called Socio-Ecological Saturation. Say that fast. Socio-ecological saturation. So we all live in a socio-ecology. And where the strategy of this saturation of the basics is everywhere you go, you can apply the basics, we can apply it, because some of you may be sitting here thinking, okay, I don't have children 0 to 3, and I'm not going to have children 0 to 3. I don't even, my grandchildren are older than 3. But you are in the community, you're in your places of worship, you're in the grocery stores, you are in your civic organizations, you help in volunteer groups such as Communities in Schools and Harmony House. So you have opportunities to interact with parents and even possibly 0 to 3-year-olds. But everywhere they go, whether it's the housing developments, whether it's employers, places of worship, mentioned childcare. We want this to be a whole community, sort of like a common language. So we're all speaking the same language, modeling the same behaviors.
Okay. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to reach this saturation of our community is through these 4 strategic components. There are 4 strategic components to the basic interventions that support community-wide implementation and saturation. The first is a multiple weekly smartphone reminders with facts and ideas for activities to do with children based on their ages. We recognize in our busy world, parents find it helpful to have nudges and reminders delivered to their phones. That's what they pay attention to. A key tool to bring this to at least 300 people in our community, and hopefully more, is a completely free app. It's the Basics Insight app that offers the text messaging service for parents, grandparents, child care providers to sign up, put the age of their child in, and they'll get 2 text messages each week relating to the basics. So it keeps it up on the forefront of their mind. This is going to be a big part of our project that we're going to talk about for an event coming April 24th, is getting parents signed up for this free app. The second strategic component is all about spreading awareness through video and print materials, all found in our online toolkit, or through me. I can provide any of these things. Posters, tip sheets, we have videos, we have video books that are great for waiting rooms, and these things can be in any place in our community, out in the business world, in the grocery store, in our shops around the square, everywhere. We are working with Wellstar and the pediatricians there, as well as United Way to get it out into their organizations. So we want people to see the basics everywhere they go. And I'm really excited about one thing we did that branched off of this, a grant that United Way wrote. We created 10 personal videos with community members promoting the basic side. Some of y'all might have seen them on social media. They're out there on our social media accounts, but it's community members, trusted members in our community that are promoting these 5 basic initiatives. The third strategic component is positive social reinforcement from trusted messengers, community leaders, teachers, pediatricians, just what I mentioned. And lastly, we're always seeking opportunities for parents to play leadership and advisory roles in the basic movement. As I said earlier, there are over 15 communities across the United States involved in this, 11 communities in Georgia, and 6 countries worldwide. The Basics is not simply an initiative, it's a social movement. And now for our project. This is where our project comes into play.
And that is why we are here today. Our goal as part of our Leadership Troop Class of 2022, best class ever. Although George Bailey did give us the best class meal ever for our meal at our last class meeting. Catered back to them. But part of it is we want to create ambassadors for the Basics Troop County. And we ourselves want to be ambassadors, but we want to help get it in the community. And one of the ways we're doing that, as Kim mentioned, is we are participating in an event. There's going to be a family expo event on April 23rd, the day before the LaGrange Cycling Classic. It is going to be at South Bend Park, and it's from 9 to 12. So that there will be other.
Lots of community resources
Yes.
and family resources there.
And what Leadership Group will be doing is we will be, like Kim said, first and foremost, getting parents to sign up for the text messaging and the tools that are available to them. We will be educating them on the 5 basic principles and with examples of how to use them. So for example, do you ever blow bubbles with your kids? That's one of my favorite things. And then they go around and pop them, right? A way that's something we don't think about. We just do it and have fun. But a way to incorporate the basics into that is you count the bubbles as you pop them. Or you talk about the size, and compare. This one is bigger than this one, or maybe this one's an oval and this one's a circle. So we take something so simple and just expand upon it. Again, trying to work on those connections in the brain. So we will be there with activities such as that to show the 5 basics principles. And what we ask of everyone in this room, show up that day. There's a lot going on in downtown LaGrange. In addition to the Family Expo, the Ember Glow in Market is going to be the Colonial Building. That's the right end. It's going to be at Colonial Building, over 100 vendors there. We'll be at South Bend Park with the Family Expo. You've got the LaGrange Cycling Classic the next day. So just a great day, a great weekend to get out in LaGrange. But one thing I do want to tell you, and I missed earlier, is why Leadership Troop chose this project. As Connie mentioned, I'm on the board with the chamber, and one of the committees I'm on, along with Jaja, is the Workforce Development and Education Committee. We are a wonderful community here in LaGrange. I have seen it grow, LaGrange and West Point, all of Troop County. I mean, I owned a business in downtown West Point when it was a ghost town before Kia. It was terrible. And I watched this is an area that I couldn't wait to get out of when I was a teenager, 20-year-old, in the early days. I couldn't wait to get out of here. It had nothing to interest me. And now I love living here. Love it. It is an awesome community. Thanks to every one of you. Well, we're working on things through our school system, through the chamber, for workforce talent and development, for skill development, because I work at Kia, we are hurting. We need people. And I'm sure a lot of you and your businesses need people too. That's kind of short term. But down the road, if we as future leaders through the Class of Leadership Troop want to continue, we've got to look longer term. So when we start, that's sort of what interested us in this project, is if we catch them early, we can help get the children and the infants more ready for the programs that are in place now so that they're ready to learn. So 18 years from now, 20 years from now, we are still developing a pipeline of people to work in this area and stay in this area and be involved and keep this a great community that it is. So we hope you'll come and visit with us on the 23rd. If not, at the very least, take this information, look at it, and see how you can help. And one way is if you work at an organization, if your human resources department does anything like what we do, we have an expectant parent packet. So if someone's expecting a child, they come to our benefits department and they get an expectant parent packet. And in that packet is information about the basics. You can spread the word through anyone. Even if they're not disadvantaged, people don't have to be disadvantaged to employ the basics. So that's what we ask of you, to support our best class ever. Set aside the rivalry. But we do appreciate your time today and letting us come to speak to you and share about our project.
And also, we do hope to carry an event like this to West Point and to Hogansville. We are not leaving out West Point and Hogansville. We're already in talks with Hogansville, and with 35 leadership troop people trained in this now, we can go across the whole community. So, thank y'all for your time. And y'all, are there any questions? Yes.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't say something about the public library.
Yes.
I'm gonna stand up.
Please do.
On Thursday, please come to story time. All the stuff we're talking about here is story time at your library. Maximizing love, it's love your library week. It is, for real. If I had it out, I would put it in. Talking, singing, and pointing. We do this during story time on Thursday, and we knock the dust off my sixth grade car and do some singing. Silly story time. But yeah, comedy, movement and play. Don't be afraid to go to a library.
Library.
That's what a lot of parents are. Encourage everyone.
Yes.
How do the libraries come into play? So I was reading recently about one being in South Carolina.
The Little Free Library, is that what you said? Oh, yes. Well, the Little Free Libraries, of course, play into it with the read and discuss stories. And that's part of our goal is to have books everywhere available, and for no child in Trick County to have any problem getting a book, whether it be through the Little Free Libraries, our Great Millet Library, the Jungle Bus, the school system, but definitely the Little Free Libraries all across the community, and we're seeing more and more in a lot of, they're very strategic places that provide access to kids that really need those books. So reading the discuss stories ties right in with that. And so for so long, all we heard was, oh, just read to your kids, just read to your kids. That's great, read to your kids. But you gotta do a little more than just read, like she said. We've gotta bring in these other elements, and really spark their imagination and help them make those connections, in those first 2 years. Yes.
You well know the Jungle Bus is very close to Rotary. Could you just update us on what's happening?
The Jungle Bus is will be celebrating its 5th anniversary this summer, so expect big things to come. You'll be seeing something. Nicole Kennedy and Gail Gordon are working on a special birthday celebration for the Jungle Bus. And the Jungle Bus is already booking this summer, looking real forward to being back out in the community, having the kids on the bus. The past 2 years, of course, the bus has been more just a picture that you can see. But because we're on the other side of the pandemic, hopefully you're going to see it all around town, and email myself or Nicole Kennedy, and we'll bring the Jungle Bus wherever our kids are. And that program, of course, Nicole Kennedy is instrumental in that. And if you have not heard, she is retiring from the school system this year, but she will not be leaving literacy efforts for Troup County, so don't worry. Bill, did you have a question?
I don't have a question, I have a comment. I just want to say how grateful and thankful I am for you guys. Even though you're not the best class, I am so grateful that y'all are taking this on. It's an absolute necessity to have a great community. and, you know.
Well, I know, actually, Bill had heard about the basics about 2 years ago in a community in Florida, so, it's
So
exciting.
I'm just so grateful y'all taking some.
And to give a plug to Leadership Troop, I mean, I know most of y'all in here. When they approached me about being in Leadership Troop, I said, listen, I'm too old to be in Leadership Troop. I've lived here my whole life, you know, that's for young people, and, you know, no, come on, do it. And literally, I am not the oldest, but the second oldest in the class. The fire chief is a couple months older than me, Strickland, but anyway, I've learned more in this Leadership Troop class. It has been I have enjoyed it so much this past year, meeting so many people, having been in the school system for so long. We do work in a bubble in the school system. We very much do. And so being out and seeing people from all these different, the business world, the banking world, the health, the manufacturing, it has just been really eye-opening. And I was having a discussion with another friend of mine who's about my age, and she said, "Do you think I should do that?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." You know, it's a great program we have here.
You can nominate yourself if you
Yes,
want.
it is nominated.
And we'll have those available at the end of May, maybe a little bit earlier. So if you're interested, let us know. I'm never great best
I want to thank you too. We have board members, Leadership Troop, Dr. Wyatt, she's here today. And, this is class, they've been amazing. I saw y'all huddle up, with me.
Yeah.
So, they're doing a great job. So, I want to thank you so much.
Thanks for the opportunity with the chamber and all this. So, but I'll be here to answer questions, information y'all might need. Thank you.
Tim, well, thank y'all so much. Your passion is so evident on what y'all are doing. I just appreciate what y'all are doing and getting out here. I was just talking to people yesterday about kids reading. I had no idea that we needed, I mean, of course, you know, to read to your kids, but 0 to 3 and 80%, like those numbers just jump off the page at you. So we got a lot of work to do. I think one thing we can all volunteer, let's make sure Connie's list is full of us volunteering after this program so that we can reach all these pre-K kids. And earlier, I hope to see everybody out at South End Park on the 23rd. In honor of your speaking today, we're going to make a donation to Polio Plus, which is various initiatives in polio around the world. So thank you for being here. Next week, Brian Shoemate will be giving us an update on what's going on in Troup County Schools. See you next week. We're adjourned.
Here, let me, thank you so much, I appreciate it.
One thing I thought of, you know, a lot of our parents will have
That's a great idea. Yeah, exactly. They're the ones who do great idea. Thank you so much.
I think you see that in every year, you know, so that's why I put you there. I need all the help.